Live from the chicken wing capital of the world, Buffalo, New York. You're listening to the Childcare Bridge podcast, your source for the best tips, tools, and tactics on how to market and grow your childcare center, ensuring total domination. Total domination. This is the Childcare Bridge, and this is your host, Michael Tasner.
So where do you get the best potential families? Where do you get those ready to go, locked and loaded parents that are just eager to come and take a tour and ideally enroll on the same day? In today's episode of the Childcare Bridge, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. One of the big advantages of not only owning a variety of centers, but working with childcare centers day in and day out is that I can see data. And this data constantly tells a story. And rather than kind of going all over the place in today's episode, I'm going to laser in on one story today. And that is, where are those families the most likely to convert from? Is it Facebook ads or Google ads or social media? Referrals, word of mouth, billboards, open houses, community events. What is the number one place? Now, before I give you the answer and then I back into a variety of things for you and give you an action plan to make this happen, I want to add a little asterisk because the easy answer would be referrals, word of mouth, because they traditionally will convert at a very high rate. If another mom or another dad says, I sent my child there, you should definitely go, that's going to have a very high conversion. And I track all of that, and we look at all of this. We look at the lead source. However, there's a huge issue with word of mouth. There's actually a lot of issues. Issue number one is you have absolutely no control. You have absolutely no way to predictably enroll X amount of enrollments into your center or centers. You can't control the word of mouth or the word of mouse. You can push and do referral contests and different things like that, but you cannot predictably figure out, are you going to get one next month? Are you going to get 10, 5, 30? You have absolutely no idea. Number two is not only the reliability and the predictability, but these are good families, but they often haven't went through the full process. So we're actually starting to see some of these rates declining in terms of the conversion rate. So if you put together this great marketing funnel to where they're talking to someone on the phone, they're getting a packet, they're maybe getting some videos before the tour, the great tour, the follow-up after. What we've seen is that when a director or whomever is giving the tour sees that it's a referral, they almost treat it a little bit differently where it's like, well, we have this in the bag. And we're starting to actually see a decline in conversion from word of mouth and word of mouse referrals. Now, your reputation is always going to be extremely important. Your brand is always important. But if this is not your first episode in tuning in, and if it is, welcome, you know that the only way that I like to grow a childcare business is through marketing with its predictability. So I need to be able to reverse engineer numbers. If I have a gap of 50 enrollments and I want to backfill it, what do I need to invest? What are the resources I need? What are the tactics so that I can hit that number? I do not like guesswork. Now, that doesn't mean that when I figure out and back into that number, that's exactly what I'm going to do. The chances are pretty high, me being a marketer, that is what I'm going to do. But often when you see that number, you start to doubt yourself, and then you start to get into panic mode and you give yourself excuses. Well, if we hit 50 more enrollments, we're going to have to hire 5 more teachers. It's been so hard to hire. You basically talk yourself off the train and you say, well, instead of targeting 50, let's target 10 and let's just add 2 a month for the next 5 months. There's a lot of great things that happen when you get to those really, really profitable levels of enrollment. You're able to open up more locations, you're taking a better salary, you can invest more back into your business, you can hire people to free up your time. There's a lot of great things that happen. So I am always a huge believer in getting to those highly profitable ratios and that whatever percentage of enrollment you're looking for. So I like to go full throttle. So getting back to our topic at hand of where are those best families coming from? When I looked at every single source of leads that we could predictably drive, the number one families that are converting were coming from two different places. Number one, they were coming from Google organic, not paid, Google organic search. Number two, they have started over the last 90 days coming from Gemini, ChatGPT, and even a couple from Grok. Now, I did an episode, I want to say a few months ago, talking about how fast the search engines are going to kind of be, let's call it replaced, but that more and more traffic is going to be going over to ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini, and that's continuing to happen. And I'm going to give you some tactical items to grab that. But the fact of the matter is, the best enrollments that have came at the most reliable rate and converted at the highest percentage have been Google organic searches. That means that you need to make sure that from a search engine optimization standpoint, that your map listing is ranking in what's called the Google 3-pack, and your website is ranking on page 1 of Google. Now, there's a lot of easy checks that you can do to kind of see where you currently stand. Option A, and the most easiest of ones, is to open up Google and type in a variety of different phrases. Type in preschool near me, childcare near me, daycare near me, Montessori school. Type in a variety of different phrases and look to see, number one, is your business listing ranking in that Google 3-pack. And then number two, scroll down past the map listings and see if your website's ranking. Now, there's one big issue with the Google Maps and doing that particular search. If you are sitting in exactly where your center is, so you're searching from there, if your center does not show up in the Google 3-pack, that to me is a 5-alarm fire. So Google is going to prioritize, unless you have terrible reviews, they're going to prioritize based on how close you are from where you're searching. So if you're searching for preschool near me and you're literally inside of your preschool, you should be that number one map listing. If you're not, that means that there's a lot of Google Map issues that we need to get course corrected. That's a whole nother episode that we can talk through. But I need you to do some of these searches and just start to gauge and see, are you actually ranking? Now, there are tools out there. I don't want to give you all the technical stuff to be doing, but there's a couple of tools that you can use. One is called GS Location Changer, and you can say that you're in 5 miles away, for example, and it'll trick Google so they think you're now 5 miles away. We obviously use enterprise tools. We have proprietary tools that we can check and see for a keyword. On the map listing, it's called a ranking grid. We can see how far out are you ranking and all that good stuff. But in this case, I just want you to do a couple of quick and dirty searches just to see, are you ranking or not? Now, the chances are going to be pretty high that your website's not ranking. And what we're finding is that when we can drive families to our website and we can get them to read and go through lots and lots of our content, when they call in to book a tour or when they text in or live chat, whatever medium they end up using off of the website, we find that they have a great show rate and they're energized, like they're almost locked and loaded to sign up. So how do we get them to find our website? How do we get our website ranking higher? And how do we kill a couple birds with one stone when I talk to you about this whole AI search? The AI search aspect cannot be discounted. It cannot be discounted. If you want to look at some industries and things that are completely different from the industry that we're in. There was a recent article that just came out about Walmart and Target and how much traffic is coming from Gemini and or ChatGPT to their website. A lot of people thought it was going to be like 2% or 5%. It's 20%. 20% of their traffic. The prediction by the end of this year was that Google search would lose like 5 to 8%, but that's starting to happen a little bit quicker than expected. Now, one thing to keep in mind when I give you this strategy is you need to understand who Google is as a company, what do they own, what do they control. And they have a website that is still one of the top 5 most popular websites across the globe, and that is YouTube. And what we're finding as one of the best strategies to grow your rankings is by putting out YouTube short content as well as, I would say generic, but general YouTube content as well. So longer form, but really prioritizing YouTube shorts. And they do not have to be anything fancy or crazy. But what we're finding is that Google also owns one of the top language models, Gemini. What do you think Google's going to prioritize when it comes to what people are finding? They're not going to be prioritizing someone else's content. They're not going to prioritize what's on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter. The X name is so odd to me. They're going to prioritize stuff that's on their platforms that they own already. And we're finding that it's YouTube Shorts. So my push for you today, if you're like, well, Michael, how do I get more of this great traffic that you're telling me is going to convert higher? It's for you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in doing video. And it can be as simple. I'll literally do one on the fly right now to just give you an example, the type of content that could be good for shorts. And I'll literally do it with no research, again, completely off the cuff. So if I was sitting down, and let's say that my childcare center was ABC Childcare. Now, whether I'm the owner, whether I'm a director, a teacher, this stuff can be shot with an iPhone, and you can use a $20 little clip-on mic, for example. Like, you don't need the crazy setups that a lot of these influencers and micro-influencers have. But it can be as simple as something like this. Hey, this is Michael over at ABC Childcare in Buffalo, New York. It's March and things are getting crazy outside. It's cold, but I wanted to share a fun activity that we did with our kids here in Buffalo that they just absolutely loved it. So if you know Buffalo, we're all about chicken wings. So we used some AI and we had chicken wing variations printed, and like we used AI to get them printed and then had the kids color these chicken wings. And then for the older kids, we decided to also give them a fun little treat. We made sure they were healthy, so they were baked rather than fried, and they had some chicken wings for lunch. So just one of those fun things that one of our teachers was like, why don't we have a fun chicken wing coloring contest? Hope you're doing well. Stay warm. Catch up with you soon. Now, was that the best video? 100% no. I like to do my stuff off the cuff, and whether we do a chicken wing coloring contest, I don't know. But you can just take a step back and be like, all right, what are some things that I think might be valuable for the community? What are some of the things that are going on at our center this week? What are some things that I want people to know about? Maybe you're typically passionate about certain topics. Maybe you want to talk about this craziness with AI and how you want to make sure that the kids that are coming to your centers, not only are they AI enabled, but they also have the human skills that AI will never be able to replace. You don't need to be doing 20-minute videos. We're talking these shorts, and what ends up happening is as you're putting this content out there, because you're going to be tagging things and putting in descriptions, it might say, well, Buffalo Preschool's talking about a chicken wing coloring contest. And then when someone is typing in maybe best preschool in Buffalo, preschool Buffalo, New York, they're going to start to find that content and find you as a result of you putting that stuff out there. So my recap to you for today, my action step for you today is you've got to take a couple of steps back and look at what kind of video content strategy can you deploy. Who at your centers can be okay with doing video, and literally just start. Like, don't overthink it. Don't worry about having the fancy backgrounds like I have and cameras. This stuff can be done with an iPhone. Now, obviously, I'm not encouraging you to go and film kids without the parents' permission and things like that. I'm encouraging you to become the go-to authority in your community by way of content. And this content will get found by families that are actively searching. They're a higher quality lead coming to you because you're doing the work. And I can also promise you that doing this stuff now is going to pay off dividends in the next 6 to 12 months as these language models become better and better and take more and more of the regular Google traffic. Get out there, start producing some short form and ideally some long form videos. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.